Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the story of Cinderella. Cinderella is one of the most favorite fairy tales in the whole world and it has been told for so many centuries. The story goes like this, and actually, there are so many versions of this story Cinderella. I have taken only one version, and generally, they will say that Cinderella went out to the ball for one night. In this, there is a difference, but anyway, the whole story, the content is the same. There was a man. He married a second wife because his first wife died, and this second wife was a very proud and a haughty woman. And she also had two daughters from a former husband. And this man had a young daughter from his first wife who was very good like the first wife, and she was also the most beautiful female in the whole world. Once the second marriage got over, the second wife started showing her true colors. She could not bear the good qualities of this pretty girl because it made her own daughters look very odious. And so she made that girl to do all the mean jobs in the house, like scrubbing the dishes, tables, cleaning her room, and every work, whereas her daughters enjoyed all the luxury in the house. Even to sleep, this girl had to sleep on a straw bed, whereas her daughters were living in fine rooms and they were dressing in the latest fashion, and they had a very large looking glass also. But this poor girl underwent all this suffering very quietly. She did not even tell her father because she did not want to disappoint him. And she did all the work. And once all the work is over, she will go to the chimney corner and sit among the cinders and the ashes. And so these two girls started calling her Cinder Venture. And later on, that itself came as Cinderella. And this Cinderella used to wear very ragged clothes, and even though she was thousand times better than her sisters, she looked more pretty even in this ragged clothes, even though her sisters wore very rich clothes. At one time, the king's son, that is the prince, he gave a ball and he invited everyone in his country to come and attend it. And there was also a talk saying that the prince was looking out for a beautiful girl to marry. Immediately, these two girls started buying rich clothes and they started decorating themselves. They were preparing their hair, their face, and even they tried to look slim, so they were reducing on their food, and they were planning what all they can wear so that they can attract the prince. And they brought the best attire women and the best hairdresser and the best makeup women to dress them. And Cinderella was also asked to come and help them so that they can dress up very well. And they knew that Cinderella had a very good taste, and she used to even do their hair. And all this Cinderella did without any complaints. At that time, one of the girl asked, "You'll be happy, no, if you come for the ball?" But Cinderella said, "I know this is not possible for me." And they also laughed at her and said, "Yes, yes, because no one would like to have a cinder wench at a ball." But anyway, Cinderella never said anything. She dressed them perfectly. And these people had tried all the clothes so that they can look the best. And on that day, Cinderella followed them and she said bye bye to them and looked till they had gone. And once they were lost out of sight, she started crying. Now there was a godmother who saw all her tears and she asked Cinderella why was she crying, and Cinderella was not able even to tell what she was because she was crying and she was sobbing. And the godmother asked her, "Okay, you want to go to the ball, isn't it?" And Cinderella said, "Yes, yes, yes, I want to go." Then the godmother said, "Okay, I will send you to the ball. Now go and get me a nice pumpkin from your garden." Cinderella never questioned her. She ran to the garden and brought the finest pumpkin. But she was wondering how can a pumpkin make her to go to the ball? The godmother touched the pumpkin with her wand, and immediately the pumpkin turned into a fine gold which was covered all over with gold. It was a beautiful coach which anyone will admire. It was so rich. It was as though it was owned by one of the best kings in the world. Then she took the mouse trap and she found six mice in it, and all the mice were alive. And she touched those mice with the wand, and immediately all the mouse turned into fine horses. Now there were six beautiful horses to carry this coach. Now they needed a coachman. So she asked Cinderella to go and see in the rat trap. And when she went and saw, there were three rats, huge rats there. and the fairy touched one of the rat, and that became a jolly coachman who was ready to ride the coach. And now they needed footmen to come along with the coach. So she said to Cinderella, go to the garden near the watering pot. There'll be 6 lizards. Bring them here. And in the same way, she made those 6 lizards into 6 footmen. And they went and stood near the coach diligently. And now she touched Cinderella with a wand, and Cinderella was beautifully dressed with the best gold and silver dress and lots of jewels. She was just shining like one princess, the most beautiful princess in the whole world. And not only that, the godmother gave her a pair of glass slippers, which were the prettiest in the whole world. Now, fully dressed, Cinderella got into the coach, but before going, the godmother commanded her not to stay till midnight. She said, if you're going to stay even one moment after the midnight, that is, the clock strikes 12, the coach will become the pumpkin, the horses will become the mice, the coachman will become the rat, and her footman will become lizards, and even her dresses will become the rags which she was wearing before this. And Cinderella promised her godmother that she will be there before midnight, and she happily drove there. Now, seeing the coach from far off place itself, everyone was so surprised because they knew a princess was coming there. And this news went to the prince, and the prince came running to see who was that lady. And when he saw a beautiful girl getting down from the coach, he immediately went and he helped her to come down, and he took her to the dancing. And everywhere they were so silent because they have never seen such a beautiful girl till then. They stopped dancing, the violin stopped playing, and everyone was only looking at this newcomer who was so beautiful that no one can equal her. And even the women were saying how beautiful she is. And even the old king told his queen that he has never seen a beautiful and lovely creature for a long time. And all the ladies started considering what clothes and dresses they can wear so that next day they can be better than what they are today, because they knew that they can be no match to this girl who had come there. And the prince also took the princess, that is Cinderella, to an honorable seat, and after that he was continuously dancing with her, and Cinderella danced so gracefully that he admired her so much. And the prince was not even able to eat anything because he was only gazing at Cinderella. And Cinderella went and sat down by her sisters, but her sisters never were not able to identify her. And the prince was giving her with lots of oranges and citrons, which she happily gave it to her sisters. And the sisters were wondering how this princess is taking care of them. And at that time, the clock struck 11 and 3/4. Immediately, Cinderella got up and she said a bid goodbye to everyone, and fast she came out, and she reached home and she thanked the godmother, and she said she is so happy, and she knew very well that the prince was so very keen on her, and she had won the heart of the prince and the king and the queen and every people there. And she also told whatever had happened in the ball there. And as she was telling, the door knocked and the sisters had come. Cinderella went and she opened, and she pretended as though she was sleeping, and only at that time she got up and she said, okay, what is it? And the sister says, don't you want to know what happened in the ball? And then they say, you know one thing, one beautiful princess came. No one can be so beautiful as and she was very good to us. She showed us thousand civility. She gave us oranges and she gave us Cinderella's. And but Cinderella did not bother to listen to a thing, and she behaved as if she was indifferent to all that. And she said, I don't know anything and all that. And she behaved as though she was not at all interested in all that. But at the same time, Cinderella, hearing everything she said, then that girl must be very beautiful. And you also, people should be very happy because you saw her. And can you give me your dress so that I can wear it another day? But they said, no, I will not give it to you. You are a dirty cinder witch. And do you think I'm a fool to give you all these clothes? And this is what actually Cinderella expected, because she knew even if her sisters are going to be in a good mood, they are not going to give her anything. So she went away. And next day, the sisters dressed more beautifully so that they can go to the function. And as what happened the previous day, the godmother came, and this time she made Cinderella even more beautiful. And she sent Cinderella the same way with the same warning that she should come before midnight. And this time, when Cinderella went there, The prince was so very happy that he gave her so many compliments and he was so very kind to her. And she was so happy, so happy, so happy, and they danced that she forgot to see the time. And at last she heard the clock striking 12, and she knew what is going to happen. So even without telling to anyone, she got up and she started running like a deer. The prince, seeing her running, he followed her, but he could not even catch her. And because she was running so fast, her one of her slippers got off, and she knew that she cannot stay back to take the slippers and run because it will be too late, and her dresses are going to turn back into a rag. So just she left the slippers, she took the other slipper in her hand and started running. The prince who was following Cinderella saw that one slipper. He knew that was the slipper which the girl who danced with him was wearing. So he took that slipper, and before she could even go out, her dress became into her nasty old clothes, and everything changed. And even the guards at the palace gate were asked by the prince, did they see any princess going out? And they said, no, no, we only saw a young girl who was dressed in rags passing by, and she must be a very poor, she must be a person who was very poor. And we did not see a prince going this side. And the prince was wondering how she would have left. And this time when the two girls returned from the ball, they said that they were well diverted because today also that girl came, but suddenly she left in between. And they said, we don't know what, but thing is, when she was leaving in a hurry, she had left one glass slippers, and those glass slippers were the prettiest in the world, and the king's son, that is the prince, had taken it. And he did nothing but he was only searching for this beautiful princess throughout the night. And maybe he was looking at her because he has fallen in love with her. And whoever is that beautiful person who is the owner of the glass slipper will be a lucky person, because to her is the heart of the prince which was stolen. And whatever they said were the truth, because in a few days the king's son announced to all the people that he would marry the girl whose slippers he had. And so he employed a few people to go and try in each and every house, whether they were princes, whether they were duchess, or even if they are very ordinary people, to see to whom that glass slippers will fit. And so those men, they brought the slippers and they tried to fit in each and every one's leg, but no one's leg that slipper was fitting. And even the two sisters, they tried to thrust their foot into the slipper, but it was not there. And Cinderella was there, and she said, can I see if it will fit me? And her sister started laughing. But the gentleman who brought the slippers, he said, yes, the order is we have to make everyone to try out the slippers. And Cinderella came, she sat and she put her slippers in the foot, and those slippers just fitted her as though it was made out of wax on her. And the sisters were astonished. And at that time Cinderella pulled out the other slipper from her pocket and she put it in her feet. And at that time came the godmother and touched Cinderella with a wand, and immediately Cinderella was looking as the Cinderella who was in the ball, who was so very beautiful, who was beautifully dressed with all the gold and silver dresses and fine jewelry. And immediately the sisters also knew that this was a beautiful girl who had come to the ball, and they begged her to forgive them for the ill treatment they have done to her. But Cinderella said that she forgave them with all her heart because she always loved them. And then she was taken to the young princess, and there he was so very happy, and in a few days they got married. And Cinderella, who was so very good and beautiful, even gave her two sisters lodging in the palace. And Cinderella and the prince, they lived happily ever after, and the story ends here. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box, like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.